it's probably something of your mother's he's been hanging on to all these years. Some keepsake.
Why now, though? What good did he think it would do?
Who knows why anybody does anything? Maybe this is his way of apologizing. To be fair to the guy, Cassie, it couldn't have been easy for him. I'm sure he's been carrying around a lot of guilt for a long time.
I laughed dryly. Never stopped him from drinking. I could hear my dad draw a deep breath.
That's just what Elaine says, but then she was never his favorite kid. Look, Amory Clyde had a hard life, and the drinking he did after the accident was different. It was his only way of dealing with it. I don't think it's for us to judge.
I sat there fingering the dial on the telephone. I tried to remember my mother's face, but all my memories seemed to be derived from snapshots. I could see her in a lime green dress and black shoes, short dark hair and red lipstick. She was holding me up, pressing our cheeks together, whispering through smiling teeth, "Smile at the camera, honey." Another time I vaguely remembered we had gone to the zoo. I was wearing white tights and a tan corduroy dress and holding a blue balloon. When I pointed at the gorillas and made a face, she scratched her head like an ape and pretended to peel a banana.
"I've got to go, sweetheart," Dad was saying. "Susan's out there in the kitchen by herself. She's getting so big I want to keep her off her feet as much as possible these days. But if you come into a fortune, don't forget who raised you."
"You mean Mrs. Urbanski?" I smiled into the phone.
"Hey, you hated her guts, remember? You told me she used to make you floss until your gums bled. She made you swallow Listerine every time you brushed your teeth."
"Did I tell you that? I really must have wanted to get rid of her." After he hung up, I rested the receiver on my shoulder for a moment. As long as I held on, there'd be a connection between us. If he picked up the phone again, I'd still be there. I imagined him going back and chopping onions, whipping eggs for a souffle, laughing with Susan in the kitchen as people waited for their food. Sometimes all I wanted to do was go home and live above the restaurant again, waking to the voices of delivery men on the street below, drifting to sleep at night amid the smells of lemon chicken and fresh bread. The receiver started to beep in my hand, and I replaced it on the cradle. It was too late to call the magistrate today. I'd have to do it tomorrow from the gallery. I wondered if I should try to call my grandmother, but almost immediately thought better of it. What could I possibly say to a woman I hadn't seen since I was 3? I tried to conjure images of my grandfather, of what my grandmother's voice sounded like, the shape of her body. I could only dimly recall a powdery smell and soft, dry skin. The only thing I knew with certainty was that one Easter, right before the accident, they gave me a doll that blinked with hair that grew. The doll had been as big as I was. It was still around somewhere, locked in the musty attic of my dad's house. I leaned over and picked up the phone again, dialing my friend Drew's number.
"You know what to do,"
his tape-recorded voice announced. "It's me. I've either inherited a plantation or a lock of my dead mother's hair. Call if you want to celebrate." My voice, talking to a machine in an empty room, sounded strangely hollow. All at once I realized that I was sitting alone in the dark. I wondered idly where Drew was, then remembered that he was at some Sotheby's function in the city. The apartment was hot and sticky. I got up and started unlocking windows, hauling up the heavy wooden frames and releasing into the room a cacophony of city sounds. The smell of burgers drifted over from across the street, and feeling a stab of hunger, I realized I hadn't eaten anything but an apple since morning. I could have called someone to meet for dinner, but I didn't feel like it. I went into the bedroom and curled up on the futon, one part of me burying everything, and the other part excavating, dredging up faces and smells and sounds. My grandfather had died, and I never loved him, never even knew him. It didn't matter. I didn't care. My mother was dead, and now he was dead too, so everything was finished. There was no one left to blame. I lay under the darkness as if it were a blanket, a churning sea, trying to forget and trying to remember, until I drifted into sleep.